Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure and honor to request the presence of our one and only tech revolutionary icon, Nigeria's digital transformation driver, the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy of Nigeria. He is a chartered IT expert. He is a chartered computer scientist. He is a chartered cybersecurity professional. He is a fellow of the British Computer Society. He is a fellow of the Nigeria Computer Society. He is a fellow of the Institute of Information Management. He is a fellow of the African Institute for International Relations and Diplomacy. He is the sitting chairman, World Summit on Information Society at the ITU headquarters in Geneva. And by divine and natural causes, he happens now to be a son of the soil of an oil-producing state. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Nigeria, to give us his speech. Unveil the book on skills rather than degrees. Please, let's keep clapping until the Honorable Minister gets here. Thank you very much. You are most welcome.
My elder brother, the Minister of FCT, Malam Muhammad Musa Bello, and I do hope that if the Almighty extend my life for the next 14 years, I will be able to come back to you. And I will take the next line of action to be taken. The Egyptian ambassador to Nigeria, His Excellency Ambassador Mustafa Ihad, my colleague, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, my good friend and brother as well, the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, also our elder brother, Professor Abdul Rashid Abubakar. Permit me to also recognize our host here, the chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, my good friend, Professor Adeyolu Akande, and also the executive vice chairman of NCC, Professor Omar Garba Dambata. Both of them serve as the host representing the federal government in the event. Other CEOs under the supervision of the ministry here with us, the Executive Secretary of NBTE, Professor Bugaji, also the Director General of the National Health Insurance Authority, Professor Sambo, and also my friend and brother, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Commission, Malang Mele Kari, my good friend and also brother, also the DG of Automotive Design Institution, also with OSIA, Malang Jelani Aliyu, our respected Vice Chancellors. I could not be able to mention all of you by name. I have a tremendous respect for all, but permit me to recognize some of you specifically. My Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, the Iron Lady, Professor Inena Oti, and the three reviewers of the book, starting with the Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, Professor Abbas Adamu, and the Vice Chancellor of University of Port Harcourt, Professor George Will, and also my Vice Chancellor from my alma mater university, Professor M.A. Abdul Aziz, who is unavoidably absent, but being represented here by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Garba. industry players with us, as I can see many. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good afternoon to all of you, and may peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. It gives me a great pleasure to stand before you for 4 important functions. Number 1, broadband infrastructure for our higher institution of learning. Number 2, broadband infrastructure for our micro, small, and medium enterprises. Number 3, distribution of EPAD tablets, 6,000 EPAD tablets. And number 4, unveiling my humble effort in documenting this book, skills rather than just degrees. As you all know, we have developed the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy for a Digital Nigeria, which was unveiled and launched by our principal, President Muhammadu Buhari, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on the 28th November 2019 at the International Conference Center, Abuja. In that policy, there are 8 pillars. Pillar number 3 speaks on solid infrastructure, and under solid infrastructure, broadband penetration is key. In order to simplify the implementation of that policy, we came up with other policies. For example, the Nigerian National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025. In that document also there are 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is infrastructure, number 2, policy, number 3, demand drivers, number 4, funding and incentives. So in that Nigerian National Broadband Plan 2, pillar number 2 speaks on broadband penetration. Today, all over the world, there is no way we can promote our education, and there is no way we can promote commercial activities without broadband. It's impossible. It is because of this, the World Bank report of 2022 clearly stated that if we will be able to increase broadband penetration globally to around 75%, that will automatically catapult the global gross domestic product by a minimum of 2 trillion USD. Today, the global broadband penetration stands around 64%, because the population of the world reached 8 billion on the 15th November 2022, just this year, this month. If you look at the statistics, around 5.3 billion people connected, while 2.7 approximately unconnected. And the percentage you will discover, around 64% of the world population connected, and by implication around 36% unconnected. So if we can increase this 64% by 11% minimum to reach 75%, that will increase the global GDP by a minimum of 2 trillion USD. In addition to creating around 133 million new jobs for our global citizens. It is because of this, and if you look at the lessons we have learned during COVID-19 pandemic, there are many better and bitter lessons. The bitter lessons we have learned in the developed countries and other developing countries, even during COVID-19 with lockdown, their activities educationally continued. But in other developing countries, most of our institutions, from primary, secondary, to higher institution of learning, were shut down. Why? Because of the challenge of connectivity, among others. It is because of this reason that in the telecommunications sector, as we all know, there is a provision in Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 as amended under Section 22, subsection 1, that if institution of government generates revenue, they are to return 20%. While in section 22, subsection 2, it states that 80% of that should be remitted to government. In the telecommunication sector, we were able to recover and generate certain amount of money, remitted 80% to government, based on the approval of our principal president, Muhammadu Buhari, on one hand, and also the budgetary provision approved by the National Assembly on the other. We decided to sacrifice this 20% to our institutions of learning and our small and medium enterprises. The total amount at that time was around 41 billion naira. Instead of increasing our benefits and allowances for our staff and others, we had a meeting with the chairman, NCC and EVC, and we all agreed, let us prioritize the interests of Nigerians over the personal interests of the stakeholder within the sector. So by implication, that 41% we decided not in any way to agitate for any increase in allowances and other benefits restricted to our sector, but rather to sacrifice it in totality to our education and our commercial activities. Firstly, I presented a memo before the Federal Executive Council on the 28th of October 2022, seeking for approval to provide broadband infrastructure unlimited to some selected higher institutions of learning as phase 1. 18 of them as phase 1. The Federal Executive Council, after a very robust deliberation, approved the memo with a sum of 16,703,863,327 naira, granting us the permission to go ahead and provide broadband to these selected higher institutions of learning. On the other hand, also, on that very day, I presented another memorandum to provide broadband connectivity to our markets to support our micro, small, and medium enterprises. On that very day, on the 26th October 2022, that one was also approved. After the approval, I directed the National Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, to implement both of them on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. In this phase 1, each university will approximately benefit with the broadband infrastructure unlimited, approximately around 400 million naira. This is a minimum amount. Each university will benefit from that. And the same with our markets. The universities, or rather the higher institutions of learning we have selected are 3 per geopolitical zone. So 3 by 6, you will get 18. Starting with the North Central, the FCT minister is here to permit me to begin with the University of Abuja. Then number 2, University of Ilorin. Number 3, Federal University of Technology, Mina. These are the 3 universities from North Central. From Southeast, with the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State. University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka. These are 3 from Southeast. From South-South, we have University of Port Harcourt. The VC is here as a reviewer. And also University of Benin. Which one is the last one? And also University of Calabar. Thank you very much. In the Southwest, we have University of Lagos. I have seen the immediate past VC when I came in. And also Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. And the third one in Oyo State. ES looks at me, and I know the reason. Firstly, ES permit me to remind you that in 2022, we are constructing a world-class digital economy center in University of Ibadan because of the personal interest you have there. And this center will consume a minimum of 1.2 billion naira. So it's ongoing and it's part of this 2022. Thank you very much. It is because of this we consider the Federal College of Education technical in Oyo for this broadband penetration, so that other institutions of learning outside the university system will not at least in any way complain. At least one of them has been considered. ESMBT, apologies, we will have another meeting with you. I know that one, we will have another meeting. While in the Northwest, we have Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Bayero University, Kano, and also Umar Musa Adua University in Katsina. Then Northeast, we have my alma mater, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, Borno State University, and Gombe State University. These are the 8 universities we have outlined for the first phase of the project. That is just the beginning, and we do hope that all other institutions of learning, particularly universities at the federal level, including at the state level, if the funding is sufficient, will also benefit from that. When it comes to markets, we have selected 20 of them, 3 per geopolitical zone, while the remaining 2, one from Computer Village in Lagos, because that is very passionate to me, and also Wuse Market in Abuja, and the FCT minister is here on behalf of all the 20 markets. The issue of supporting our markets is also very important and is also key. If you look at it statistically, our micro, small, and medium enterprises in Nigeria so far are up to 39.3 million, according to the report of Asmedan. 39.3 million micro, small, and medium enterprises in Nigeria. Secondly, according to that report of 2020, just prior to COVID-19, they contributed 46.7% of our GDP in Nigeria. By implication, almost half of our gross domestic product is from micro, small, and medium enterprises. When it comes to all the businesses we have in Nigeria, micro, small, and medium enterprises comprise 96.7%, contrary to the statistic mentioned by the NCC board chair. 96.7% of our entire businesses in Nigeria are under micro, small, and medium enterprises. So any effort to develop our economy without bringing them into the equation, the success is absolutely difficult to be attained. It is because of this we intend to implement a model that has been advocated by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which has been entitled as IDE, that is Innovation-Driven Enterprises. At the time, many countries and many universities and other institutions were promoting small, medium enterprises. MIT was a bit proactive, agitating for IDA, Innovation-Driven Enterprises, by trying to give global visibility to your enterprises, the smaller ones. It is because of this, what MIT has attained as a university today, more than 90% of the world countries did not attain. The GDP of MIT, according to a research conducted since 2016, entitled MIT Nation. In that research, it shows that the collective GDP of serial entrepreneurs of MIT as a university collectively was more than the GDP of India as a country with a population of 1.33 billion people. The collective GDP then was little higher than 2 trillion USD. At that time, India was 1.9 trillion. So if MIT were to be a nation, it could be the 10th largest economy globally. Because even Nigeria, the largest economy in Africa, is just around 515 trillion USD. So by implication, the GDP of MIT alone is almost 4 times the GDP of Nigeria as a country with a population of 220 million people approximately. How did they achieve this? It's true given that global visibility to micro and small enterprises. This is indeed very important. We want to implement that model in Nigeria. It is because of this we initiated the process that brought about the Nigeria Startup Act 2022, which I presented before the Federal Executive Council on the 15th December 2021, and it was assented by Mr. President on the 19th October 2022. It becomes a law today. If you look at the content of the Nigeria Startup Act, is to promote this part of it is our micro, small, and medium enterprises, our young innovators, our startup, among many others, by incentives, financial support, seed funding, tax holiday, intellectual property, patent, and many more. This is what we intend to promote. So under micro, small, and medium enterprises, for the first one, we have a provision of covering 20 markets, including Wuse market here in Abuja. The third one to be unveiled here, which we have started the distribution since, and I believe many institutions have so far benefited. On the 6th of December 2021, I also presented a memo before the Federal Executive Council for the procurement of e-part tablets for distribution all over the country, particularly to our institutions, either academic institutions or public institutions. The Federal Executive Council approved at the price of 1.96 billion naira. And we were able to purchase 6,000 tabs at that level. And this is also to be being implemented by NCC. Most of the institutions benefited with 100 tablets. However, few, 1 or 2 places benefited with 200. This is to support the institutions and to encourage them with that intervention to at least try to get more so that we will be able to operate virtually and also digitally. Many institutions have received and some are yet to receive. I allowed the implementation to commence because of time constraint. And it is because of this, the formal presentation is going to be conducted today. So far, under that category, 58 institutions have so far benefited from that intervention. This is the third one in which the MC has left it out. And I drew her attention saying that 4, not 3. Number 4 is just my humble effort of coming up with this book, skills rather than just degrees. In the course of writing the book, I have engaged the Executive Secretary of National University Commission through so many discussions and also indirect interview to identify what are our challenges today in our universities and which effort is being made in order to address. The ES needs to be commended. He gave us all the necessary support to ensure that I come up with the draft copy of the book. And also, he even gave me another privilege of reviewing the entire curriculum of ICT-related courses to be taught in Nigerian universities. The first day we started discussing the book, it was in 2019 during the convocation of Nile University when I was invited as the graduation ceremony lecturer. We started the discussion then. And I could recall we discussed the issue of unemployment many times with the ES of MBTE as well. I think our discussion with him for over 6 years today. I think since when he was even, rector Kaduna Polytechnic, we have been discussing how to bridge the gap between academia, industry, and government. And that is why in the book I focus more on the implementation of triple helix model. And this is indeed very important. In the book, I am not in any way discouraging obtaining certificates. I am not in any way doing that. I am a beneficiary of certificates. And I have obtained many. At least I have BTech, I have MSc, MBA, PhD, and I had the privilege of attending some of the best universities in the world to obtain their certificate, like IMD, MIT, Harvard University, Oxford University, Cambridge University. I obtained the certificate of all these institutions through various trainings and programs. But what I'm trying to promote is the fact that if certificates are empty, then the aim of obtaining them has been defeated. Secondly, our priority and preference while admitting students or teaching students is not about the certificate. The priority should be the training and the skills to be acquired. And thirdly, globally today, curriculum is not very static, it's very flexible. The way it is being implemented in Indian Institute of Technology, there must be a form of flexibility because the way job requirements are changing week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, it is absolutely difficult to get time and review it collectively and endorse it for implementation. There is need for a form of flexibility where we will be able to accommodate any new idea that is required. Thirdly, priority and preference today in the whole world when it comes to recruitment is given to soft skills. This should be our priority, to teach our students critical thinking, analytical thinking, collaborative thinking, technical presentation skills, teamwork, creativity, among others. Soft skills are what is being required today when it comes to job. Even hard skills should come after soft skills. And we also need to teach our students even social skills, how to interact with people. It is indeed very important because some of our students will graduate without even learning the basic ways of interacting with others. Just thank you. Can I help you? Don't look at who is coming behind you. You enter into a place, hold the door for him to come. He will appreciate you. And it is more of a mutual respect between teacher-student. That is how it should be. So these are some of the issues, and I came up with so many models to show to us why this is the way out. And I also emphasize in that book that our major challenge in Nigeria is not only unemployment, though we have the challenge of unemployment. However, the major challenge is unemployability, where there is a serious mismatch between the quality of our citizens graduating and the job opportunities available globally. If you are looking for job opportunities today, don't look at only Nigeria. The opportunities are there globally. If you have the skills, then it is not difficult for you to get employed. Just a simple example, Elon Musk took over Twitter and he sacked some of the staff most senior. He had to go back and lobby some to come back. Why? The company couldn't operate without them. He did not ask for their certificate. And in order to show that he recalled them, he had to snap a picture and share it online that they are back and I have apologized to them. This is the value of skills. And in the book, I also narrated a story of my brother, Jelani Aliyu. He was recruited by General Motors in the US. They have never asked him about his CV or which university did you attend. They were only after what he could be able to do physically. He demonstrated that and they employed him. Up to the time we recall him back to Nigeria, they have never asked him about the university he has attended. Are we on the same page? And he's here to confirm. They have never. Why? we must try to ensure that we prioritize the training over the certificates. Recently, one of our citizens went to his university, returning his certificate and requesting them to pay him his school fees. This is the problem. I sympathize with him as a fellow Nigerian, and I do hope that we will find a solution to him. But the challenge, he fails to realize that university, that not about the certificate but the training. How could he return the training? That is not possible. Certificate is just an evidence, but it's not the target. But because of that mentality, not thinking of returning the knowledge he acquired or the skills from first year to the year he graduated, but returning the certificate. And I think the earlier we change that mentality, the better for all of us. We go to university for training and skills. That certificate is just a validation when we are confronted with what is the evidence that you have attended that. But it should not be our prerequisite and our preference. The skills and the training should be our prerequisite and should be also our preference. Finally, I want to appreciate all of you for honoring our invitation to be here. On behalf of my principal, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, I do hope that when these facilities and infrastructure are distributed, we will make sure that we make use of them. And I do hope that with the policies we have in place, this is just the beginning of a very serious intervention, not the end. Any institution that utilizes the facilities effectively will be given higher priority in the next round of our interventions. Once again, thank you very much for honoring our invitation.